Hi everyone, this is my media analysis presentation. I want to begin by talking a little bit about media in general and how pervasive media can be in our culture here in America, particularly when it comes to adolescence. So I want to begin with a few facts that I found both sort of a little bit startling or important or something that we would want to know about before we get started. So the average person in the United States sees approximately 3,000 ads in magazines, billboards, and television every day. So constantly we are being exposed to ideal images or ideas of what we should strive to look like, to behave like, to sort of find our goals in. Additionally, the average teen spends about 9 hours per day using online social media for entertainment and socialization. Now, if you want a really quick laugh, that's in comparison to the 10 to 15 minutes a day the average teen spends speaking to one or either of their parents. So clearly, social media has become very important in the lives of our adolescents here in America. And as they take in this media and use their cell phones to access it, they are viewing women and men as well with unattainable body types. So today's models, the average model in any modeling industry here in America weighs 23% less than the average woman. In fact, the average height and weight for a model are 5'10" and 110 pounds, and the average height and weight for a woman, generally speaking, here in America, is 5'4" and 145 pounds. So clearly there's a large discrepancy in what you typically see in women just when you're out and about shopping in stores or walking down the street, for example, in direct opposition to the models that you see in advertisements on television and in your media. So what becomes very important when we're considering these things is the fact that half of girls aged 16 to 21 say that they would willingly undergo surgery to improve their bodies. And girls who are unhappy with their appearance in this way are at a significantly higher risk of suicide than those who are not. The Keep It Real campaign found that 80% of American girls have been on a diet, which only increases a negative self-image. This worsens when these children reach adolescence and are exposed to perfect hair, muscled bodies, and bikinis on social media, leading to anxiety of how they are perceived by others and a desire for validation in beauty or athleticism from their social media friends. And this becomes very vital to think about because just like these celebrities who have Instagram pages, the vast majority of adolescents also have Instagram pages and spend part of that 9 hours per day viewing their own Instagram pages and the Instagram pages of others. So I want to begin now by talking about a few examples that I myself found that were very easy to access and easy to hunt down on Instagram. Now, Instagram is one of the most popular outlets for teenagers. Thankfully, there are ways to keep an Instagram account private, though many people choose not to do so. One thing that Instagram sort of boasts, just like Twitter does, is that you can interact with celebrities directly by following their pages, by commenting or liking on their photos, and things like that. So my first example here, and you'll see an image of her very shortly, Kim Kardashian West, possibly one of the most recognizable faces, names, and bodies in media today. So I would consider her an example of a negative body image influencer on Instagram. She achieved surprising fame by knowing the right people and having the spotlight shown upon her extremely wealthy and notorious family, and her dating life and eventual marriage to rapper Kanye West became a topic of interest in the media. Kim has an Instagram following of 112 million users and uses this influence for her own means, such as promotion of fragrances, makeup, and promotion of interest and popularity. So, something that is important to keep in mind is that Kim is, along with being a media influencer, is a wife and mother. So a few of her uploaded photos reflect a stylish and lavish family life. So there are photos of her kids, of her spending time with her kids. So not every post that she makes is particularly concerning. However, she does have some influencing images that we might be worrisome or worried about our students seeing or striving to imitate. So the majority of her photos depict her body, partially and fully nude, on her public account that anyone with an Instagram account can view, including teenagers. There's no ratings on Instagram, there's no rating system, and there's no way to sort of manage that. One photo you will see here shows Kim in a bikini. Now, there's nothing outwardly harmful about that. That's something that anyone could see if they go to the beach or the public pool, and I want to be perfectly clear in saying that I'm not suggesting that women should have to necessarily cover up their bodies or not wear a bikini just because it could be considered offensive to others. However, it is a selfie in which she is posing her body at the most advantageous angle, highlighting a very small waist and curvy hips, presenting a feminine ideal of sort of effortless beauty. And the next photo that you'll see here is one of a series of completely nude photos of Kim, where she is posed to cover certain parts of her body. This one here is actually the least revealing, one that I could find on her account and still get my point across. And it is a part of an advertisement for her new perfume line. So in this series of nude photos, she is sexualizing her own body as a way to sell perfume, essentially telling viewers that they too can be just as appealing and sexy as she is if they buy her new scent. So it's more about the way in which that she's presenting herself as opposed to whether or not she's wearing clothes. It's more about the idea that she's using her body to market herself, to make herself more popular, more intriguing, seem more appealing and attractive, and to sell products that I think actually is the more worrisome aspect of these images. Her sister, Kylie Jenner, is an additional example of a user who presents her own body in sexually enticing photographs. So here I have another photo of Kylie in a bikini, an angled selfie, and then another lingerie mirror selfie. So when it comes to lingerie selfie, and again, I will reiterate that I don't believe the female body is something that should be shamed or hidden, but these photos, when viewed by adolescents, present very conflicting ideas to them. On the one hand, these women are praised in the comments section for being hot and sexy. There are flame emojis, heart eye emojis, and this is very encouraging to adolescent girls who are striving for positive attention, for validation. And these young girls may also want to present themselves in a likewise manner. So many teens want to be told that the bodies that they're growing into, and they still find them very awkward and uncomfortable, they want to know that they are beautiful. And yet, by posting provocative photos, such as the ones that Kim and Kylie post, now Kim and Kylie are adults. They're, far past their 20s into their 30s. I think Kylie's in her 20s, but Kim is in her 30s. They are at full liberty to present their bodies however they'd wish. However, adolescents risk negative, disparaging comments from peers that can be very damaging to self-esteem. Online slut shaming, which is very problematic and prevalent in today's world. And also a loss of reputation And in very extreme situations, depending on who's posting the video, there can be charges of child pornography involved, and criminal issues. So the desire to behave like adults with money and popularity, or to one day achieve such a standard, can be damaging to an adolescent's psyche and physical health, and put them at risk to predators or catfish looking to manipulate them in some way and take advantage of their self-esteem. This only worsens when you see even further dangerous, damaging body influencers on Instagram. Here you'll see Eugenia Cooney. She's a very unfortunate example of a young girl who is taking the pursuit of an ideal body to an unhealthy extreme. So upon first glance, Eugenia seems to be a very sweet girl. She's 23 years old. She uploads photos of herself, her friends. She has some really cute videos of her with her mom where they make over each other with makeup and clothes. It's really very sweet. She has 523,000 followers, most of which, when you skim through them, are young women, college age and high school age. However, she posts some very troubling photos of her body that have caused quite a stir. After rising to YouTube fame, you'll see a few photos of her here, sometimes in lingerie or bikinis, other times in short skirts or revealing tops. Some of her pictures become very painful to viewers. She's extremely thin, and many of her followers have tried to get her account shut down for fear of a negative influence or support of some kind of eating disorder on her part. So for obvious reasons, many of her followers believe that she suffers from an eating disorder or some other physical illness causing her to be so painfully thin, or to lose weight rapidly, or be unable to gain weight. So Eugenia denies this vehemently, so I would never want to say that that is true or present something as fact that isn't. She refers to herself as being naturally thin. However, viewers see this as very, very troubling, particularly older viewers who have run into her Instagram page. So they worry about her health and the image that she sends to young viewers. So if you skim through her comments, and I'll put a few up here now, you'll notice that on her Instagram account there are two types of comments that are most often seen when you skim her page. The first are those worried users that I mentioned previously who are encouraging her to seek medical attention. You'll see a few of them here. The second are young, often adolescent users, and their comments are very, very troubling. They call her an inspiration, and they say that they want to look just like her, and they ask her how she achieves the body that she has. They call her #goals. This commentary is frightening because an adult views this girl as being unhealthy and sickly. Even in her videos, she appears frail and weak. And her negative body image uploads are dangerous because they can influence young girls to dangerous means to achieve a body type like this. So many viewers consider her to feed into or influence what they call pro-ana or thinspo communities, and that stands for pro-anorexia and thin inspiration communities, respectively. And these communities, they're online forums, usually on Tumblr or other accounts, and they encourage participants to use unhealthy means to achieve an ideal figure, and it's usually a dangerous figure, a painfully thin figure. Often adolescents who are diagnosed with and seek help for eating disorders admit to having participated in such online communities actively, and proving that users who present unattainable and often unhealthy bodies as major influencers in the health and behavior of teenage viewers. So some Instagram accounts can be very troubling, and it's important to consider how an adolescent might view this user in particular, especially. So now, to move on, I want to discuss some body-positive Instagram influencers. So, of course, along with the bad comes the good, or at least the better. Many young women have body types that they view as different or not ideal, particularly women, young adolescent women who are going through puberty, often find the changes that are happening to their body frightening, disturbing, and just changing in their identity or attacking their identity in some way. So sometimes image issues can lead to healthy changes. Discussing a healthier diet, exercising, but also those things can be taken to extremes, to dangerous extremes. So there are many women who have decided to combat negative self-image by embracing themselves as curvier women who do not fit an ideal body type according to today's media. So plus-size model Ashley Graham is perhaps one of the most famous to do so. She has written books, she's appeared on talk shows, and she seeks to empower women who are larger than the typical model. And she does this by displaying photos of herself, unedited and not photoshopped, the same way that other models pose. So she wears bikinis, she wears lingerie, and she sort of is attacking those typical ideas of what a body should look like. So in her photos, she leaves her cellulite visible, she wears provocative clothing, and she does so to illustrate that size should not be a factor in someone's confidence. So sometimes it's as simple as a young girl seeing themselves out there, seeing a woman who embraces her body and isn't afraid to show herself in this way is very empowering for women. Of course, it is still troubling somewhat for adolescents to be seeing just in the same sense that any other half-naked Instagram account would be. But most of her photos are not scantily clad. In a lot of them, she is wearing fancy dresses, beautiful outfits. So I'm just choosing a few that are more provocative to show the extreme side of things. But of course, she does post more than just that. And another Instagram follower that I would be loath not to mention is Whitney Thor. So she's another example of a plus-size woman who promotes body positivity, perhaps in a more active way than even Ashley Graham, because she documents her weight loss journey via her reality TV show. And she's very honest about how much of a challenge it is for her. And she refers to her body as that she believes, and she says that she's very happy with her body. However, she does have a few health issues, and she is concerned about that, and she's making positive changes to combat those health issues. So very often on her Instagram page, you can see her working out, videos of her lifting weights, which is really cool. And also, you can see images of her displaying her body with confidence. Now, her images are not quite as provocative as models' images usually are. Instead, she's just wearing clothes that are typical clothes, but she does wear bikinis, and she does wear what she wants to wear, regardless of any negative comments that she receives. And she even discusses the comments that she receives. She'll say things like, "Oh, yeah, I'm posting this anyway." People go one of two ways. They either say, "Man, you look like you've lost 100 pounds, congratulations," or, "Oh, what's going on with your body? You're fat." So she kind of takes it all in stride and is a role model in that way, and the same way that Ashley Graham is, in saying, you can say what you want about my body, but I will still have that confidence. And I think that's very empowering, and it puts a positive spin on all of these sort of provocative images, and sort of just makes it more worthwhile to examine in a really interesting way. So just to close now, unfortunately, social media sometimes fuels the notion that people have to look perfect or seek an ideal body type, often to unrealistic extremes. Many teens obsess over taking the perfect selfie, and girls talk about the importance of having a thigh gap. It's very common to hear. Selfies are often just harmless fun, as Snapchat allows viewers to send pictures of themselves with silly, distorting filters to their friends, and often laugh about those things. However, some teens obsess over taking that selfie, that perfect selfie, to an extent they will take more than 50 photos and choose only one to upload or share with others. And when they pick that photo, that best photo, the one that they think is best, they'll upload it to a social media account, and they will find self-worth in how many comments or likes they receive, to the extent that some girls, if they don't receive enough likes quickly enough for their photos, they will delete the photo, just to save themselves from negative comments. And negative comments, when they do occur, are a huge hit to an adolescent's self-esteem. They're not prepared to hear that, and they're not posting thinking that they can receive that very often. So another negative to selfies is that teens can take them to extremes, often doing dangerous stunts, which can harm their physical health, or sharing nude or semi-nude photographs that, if leaked, can ruin their reputation and cause extreme emotional distress. And it's no wonder that they're doing these things when that's what they see in the media. If this is what they're constantly exposed to, then they're going to believe that this is what's typical, this is what's acceptable, and this is what's okay for them to do. So I would say that it becomes very important to have conversations, not only about body image, self-esteem, but also about what is appropriate and what is comfortable for each person and what is legal for someone to be doing, particularly online. And there are workshops that come to schools, there are speakers who come to talk about these things, and it's important. It's important conversations, both for parents to have with their children and for teachers to have with their students, perhaps even in the classroom on occasions. I also want to take time to mention that though my video focuses on female influences, it must also be stated that boys are not impervious to the effects of ideal body image portrayed in the media. In fact, boys are bombarded with images of six-pack abs and big muscles as early as their childhoods, when superheroes and action figures depict this unrealistic male body. This leads to depression, eating disorders, and compulsive exercise in male adolescents as well. So this is not just a concern for women, though I am speaking mainly of women in this video because it is a more narrow scope and because it can be a bit more pervasive or more noticeable. So some side effects that men often face as well as women are low self-esteem, the use of performance-enhancing drugs or anabolic steroids. An estimated 10% of people who get help for eating disorders are men, but many scholars believe that this is not reflective of the actual number of men who suffer from eating disorders, but instead are just men who have taken the initiative to get help. So now, to close with a few questions for you all to think about as you comment in my comment section. What other images in the media can you find that you could see as damaging or unhealthy for teenagers, especially those struggling with body image and mental health, to view or take in on a daily basis? What celebrities do you think are the worst social media influencers when it comes to body image? What can parents do to help their teens use social media responsibly and learn to seek acceptance in themselves rather than in a multitude of friends who are really competitors on social media platforms? And finally, what do you think of the openness with which women display their bodies on social media? How much is powerful and how much is too much? What messages do or should we send to adolescents when it comes to nudity and self-confidence? Thank you for watching.